Based on reports from 10 countries, between 55 and 95% of women who had been physically abused by their partners had never contacted non-governmental organizations, shelters, or police. Every 9 seconds in the U.S., a woman is assaulted or beaten. Domestic violence is the leading cause of injury to women, more than car accidents, muggings, and rapes combined. Every day in the U.S., more than 3 women are murdered by their husbands or boyfriends. Studies show that women face the greatest risk of assault when they leave or threaten to leave their partners or report the abuse to authorities. Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie. Tonight I will be talking to you about domestic violence. Through my research, I have found some pretty staggering information and statistics on the subject. I would like to discuss with you the different types of domestic violence, some of the consequences of domestic violence, and the recovery time from domestic violence. Domestic violence may start when a partner feels the need to control or dominate the other. Abusers may feel the need to control their partner because of low self-esteem, extreme jealousy, or difficulties in regulating their anger and/or strong emotions, or when they feel inferior to the other partner. This domination then takes the form of physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. Emotional abuse includes non-physical behaviors such as threats, insults, constant stalking, humiliation, and putting the victim down. Emotional abuse is just as harsh as physical, psychological abuse. Emotional abuse usually leads to physical abuse. Examples of physical abuse are punching, kicking, shoving, pulling hair, using weapons, or preventing the victim from leaving. Physical abuse can start with minor abuse, such as pushing and shoving, and can lead to more serious abuse. Physical abuse is harmful no matter the severity. Examples of psychological abuse include denying the victim access to money or economic support, which leaves the victim depending on their abusive partner. Other examples of psychological abuse include harassing the victim, threatening to injure or disfigure or kill the victim and or their loved ones, preventing the victim from eating, sleeping, or leaving their place of residence, or other forms of psychological abuse. These many types of domestic violence can lead to many consequences to the victim. In general, victims of repeated violence over time experience serious consequences more than victims of one-time incidents. Survivors of domestic violence face high rates of mental health problems such as depression, sleep disorders, anxiety and flashbacks, and other emotional distress. Without help, girls who witness domestic violence are more vulnerable to be abused by teens and adults. By their partners. Domestic violence costs more than $37 billion a year in police involvement, legal work, and medical and mental health treatment. Healing from domestic violence is different for each survivor. I am a survivor of domestic violence. Violence happens because of the choices made by the abuser, not because there is something wrong with the victim. Many victims are left with the feeling they are alone and at fault. By finding ways to build a sense of empowerment within yourself, you can discover yourself and you can direct yourself in a positive direction. Although it may take time and be difficult, every survivor can move through an individual process and recover from domestic violence. You have the ability to heal from the traumatic experiences, particularly if you receive and have time to heal and grow. First and foremost, the abuser is responsible for the abuse, and it is not and never was the victim's fault. The victim did nothing wrong. No one deserves to be battered or abused. It is possible to heal from the effects of domestic violence if you have support and love from your friends. Being a survivor of domestic violence is part of my life. It by no means dictates who I am today. Without help, domestic violence will continue to go unnoticed. That is why it is important to educate yourself and others on domestic violence. As I have discussed with you today, the importance of the different types of domestic violence, the consequences of domestic violence, and the recovering time of domestic violence. I hope that you can take this information with you today and educate yourself and others on domestic violence. Thank you for your attention. If there are no further questions.
No question.